The message came through on a quiet Tuesday morning. I remember because the light from the kitchen window hit the table just right, and for a moment, everything felt peaceful, like life was finally starting to make sense again after years of trying to hold it all together. I was stirring sugar into my coffee when my phone buzzed. It was from Michael, my husband of 12 years, the man I had loved, trusted, and sacrificed everything for. The text was short, cold. "It's over, Emma. I've filed for divorce. Don't try to reach me. Also, I've taken what's mine from the account." My heart froze. I blinked at the screen, reading the words over and over again, hoping I'd misunderstood them. My hand trembled so hard the phone nearly slipped from my fingers. I rushed to check our joint bank account, and just as he said, it was empty. Completely drained. 12 years of savings, gone in seconds. At that moment, it felt like my entire world had shattered into 1,000 pieces. My knees gave way and I sank to the floor, staring blankly ahead. My husband, the man who once promised to protect me, had just destroyed me with a few lines of text. No explanation, no face-to-face conversation, just gone. I spent that night crying on the living room floor, the house echoing with a silence that felt cruel and heavy. But as the hours passed and my tears finally ran dry, a strange calm began to wash over me. It was like something inside me snapped, but not in a bad way. It was the kind of break that lets light in. I realized something important. Michael might have broken my heart, but he wasn't going to break me. In the days that followed, I started piecing myself together. I went through the motions, filed the police report for the missing funds, contacted the bank, and hired a lawyer. I learned that he had been transferring money in small amounts for months, quietly, strategically, making sure I wouldn't notice, and then I found out why. A mutual friend, hesitant but sympathetic, told me the truth. Michael had been seeing someone else for over a year. A younger woman from his office. The business trips he used as excuses were really vacations with her. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. Not just because he cheated, but because he had turned me into a fool in my own story. But what Michael didn't know was that while he was busy planning his escape, I was building something too. For the past 2 years, I had been running a small online business, one that he barely paid attention to. What started as a hobby during the lockdown had quietly grown into a successful company. I hadn't touched our joint account in months. My income was separate, my savings untouched, and my business registered entirely under my name. So while he thought he'd left me broke and broken, I was far from it. I stayed silent. I didn't respond to his text. I didn't call or beg. Instead, I met with my lawyer, gathered every piece of evidence, the bank transfers, the affair details, the property records, and waited. Weeks later, his lawyer reached out, smug and confident. They assumed I had nothing left. But when my attorney presented proof of financial fraud and marital misconduct, the tone changed immediately. Suddenly, Michael wasn't so confident anymore. His so-called clean break had turned into a legal nightmare. The court ruled in my favor. I was granted not only the divorce, but also full ownership of the house and compensation for the money he had stolen. His reputation, once spotless, began to crumble when the affair went public within his company. He lost his job, his new relationship fell apart, and for the first time, he was the one left standing in the ruins. But this isn't a story about revenge. Not really. It's a story about rediscovery. I didn't feel joy watching him fall. What I felt was freedom. Freedom from years of emotional neglect, manipulation, and control. Freedom from the version of myself that believed I wasn't strong enough to stand alone. Months later, I sat in that same kitchen, with sunlight streaming in just as it had that morning. But this time the coffee tasted different, like peace. My business was thriving, I had moved past the pain, and I had started mentoring other women going through similar heartbreaks. One evening, as I scrolled through my messages, I saw his name appear again, Michael. After all that time, he had the nerve to text me. "I made a mistake, Emma, can we talk?" I stared at the screen, a small smile tugging at the corner of my lips. Not out of arrogance, but strength. I typed back a single sentence, the same number of words he used to destroy me months before. "It's over, Michael. Don't try to reach me." And just like that, I closed that chapter. For good. Because the truth is, sometimes when life burns everything down, it's not the end. It's the beginning of something you were meant to build all along. I lost a husband, yes, but I found myself, and that, I realized, was worth far more than any joint account could ever hold. Moral: never underestimate the strength of a woman who's been betrayed. Because once she rises, she doesn't fall again.